Hello, fellow creators. That's me, and welcome to Cap Squared. As you can see back here behind me, my background has changed, but not only has the background changed, so have parts of the gaming industry and some of the other stuff in our industry that we're going to cover in this week's episode. Our show covers a bi-weekly struggle of us being creative endeavors and what it actually takes to make our company succeed. With that being said, let's get into it.
This is Cap Squared, we don't miss days. Two small businesses, big hallway praise. You keep me honest, I keep you brave. We check in weekly, so we don't care. Soaring Panther, Midnight Mosaic. Side by side, we're gonna make it. This is Cap Squared, turn it up.
And now, live in front of no studio audience ever. Anyways, so Armando, man, what a couple weeks, what a roller coaster of a ride. Did you, what do you think was, did you have any, okay.
Stress, yes. I got you, buddy. You're
No,
good.
I know, but it's not on camera. It's the live factor. Anyways, Armando, how was your stress levels after the last couple weeks?
I'm down south in Lakeland, Florida, to help take care of my grandmother because she fell about a week and a half ago. So I came down here to help my brother and my sister take care of my grandmother until my aunt gets down here July 5th or 6th is when she should be here. So that's why this is not all blacked out, is because I didn't bring that with me. I'm doing this at her house on the dining room table. So shout out to mom, thank you. But that's my stress level for the week. How about you, buddy?
Stress level wise, just the typical, traveling. That's really all it was. Traveling, a little bit of mental gymnastics over company and work and the project currently at hand. It wasn't really, I mean, stress levels are expected, I guess.
Yeah,
Nothing
because you're
really to
your
report
your
there.
traveling took you to
To
Canada,
Canada.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see.
How
What,
much of a drive was that, if you don't mind me asking, like
oh,
from where
dude.
you are to Canada?
So I'm in actively middle of the state, New Hampshire, in a very good populated, but yet like not populated area. It's perfect. It took us about 4.5 to 5 hours roughly, depending on stops and traffic. The
Okay.
way there was about 5 hours. The way home, dude, was like 4 hours. The longest stop was at the border control. It's always a problem, I feel, getting back into the United States versus leaving the US. Canada just like marks your they don't even mark the passport. They just say, "Hey, come on in. Hey, we love you, don't you know?" You're like, "Hey, thanks, bud."
Yeah, see you later. Go do your thing.
But yeah, all that aside, what do you think like slowed you down to make progress this week?
So, on the work aspect of things, slowing me down was caretaking. So that's my primary job while I'm here, is caretaking for my grandmother. So, like, no actual work like Amazon or Grubhub or any of those
Ooh.
things because I'm here. Like I said, because that's kind of a full-time job. But in the same token, I also made sure that my kid was doing her schoolwork, even though we're down here. So my focus wasn't so much on studio stuff, but I take advantage of it when she takes her naps to kind of sit down
Absolutely.
and do a little bit of work. So how about you? What slowed you down this week?
It's traveling and mental gymnastics. That's mental gymnastics is always going to slow me down. And
Yeah.
in the future, like I mentioned earlier, I do want to get into that, but that seems like a personal kind of conversation to have with an audience so they can understand a little bit more of the struggles I have in my mental gymnastics. Not that they need to know, but it does give you an insight as a creative how you can navigate those, how I've navigated them. I think
Gotcha.
it's going to be an honest video I put out, and I'm excited to do it in a way because I look at creativity differently. But it kind of that's also the segue into, you know, in a way that moved me forward thinking that way. But what moved you forward when you had all these things going on and your day-to-day changed shortly to take care of somebody you love? How does that
Yeah.
like how do you keep moving forward in moments like that?
I take it at whatever opportunity comes up. So like if I have 5 minutes to do a little bit of artwork, I did that. Whatever opportunity, like I said, presented itself, I would sit in this computer, I would try to get a little bit of work done. Um, especially if she's napping. Then that's my opportunity to sit down and get whatever I can done, whether it's, like I said, artwork or QA testing, any of those things. And you moving forward, your thing was, like you said, mental gymnastics and
Yeah, but here's how I kind of did that. Instead of latching on to every mental gymnastics that came, the thing that kept me moving forward was allowing those to have the space to be those moments. So, like, my whiteboard came littered with thoughts, and I didn't chase a single one. I just wrote them down, walked away from it, came back the next day, erased it. And it kept me moving forward to realize that mental gymnastics is just part of the game.
so now, according to Sony's blogs, the consumer trend is the reason that they're switching to this platform of just going all physical to digital. And in my opinion, looking at things, because like I said, I read a couple articles. Like the other thing is it allows Sony to closely align themselves with how the community prefers to access and play their games. Now, me personally, I like digital only because of the fact that it's more convenient. Like I don't have to go to the store and buy a physical copy, but I still like my physical copies every once in a while, especially if it's a game that's really important to me. I will go get a physical copy.
Well, hold on, because now I want to weigh in on this. I
Go for it.
feel last week on episode 14, we talked about how Microsoft was a rock star and how changing hands and stuff like that is kind of, they don't feel so rock starish anymore. This is all tied because I honestly think that Rockstar coming out and saying that, or Take Two Interactive, however you spin this, coming out and
Yeah.
saying that they're going to go strictly digital first, then possibly do a physical release,
Physical.
that's ahead of schedule of what came out. Then PlayStation came out and said, "Hey, we're going strictly digital." But remember, there's been rumors for the last handful of years where Microsoft has been buying up IP and moving into the realm of going cloud gaming.
Digital.
Yeah.
Yep. Which,
So
yeah, that's the experience that I've had with Xboxes because I'm an Xbox guy. I'm not so much a PlayStation guy anymore. And most of what I play typically is cloud based. I don't download it to my hard drive. I just play it on the cloud, especially the offline stuff. Multiplayer games, I'll download those because that's a little different. But yeah, I hear you. So
it's just concerning because we're taking the physicality out of gaming. It's a way to connect you to.
or my weekly check-ins when I go to collect my points, that's
Yeah.
where I get my bonuses.
Yeah.
Um,
How do you feel? This is how I want to spin your industry news that you
yeah.
discovered. How do you feel it impacts you as an indie game developer?
So as an indie game developer, I kind of am okay with it because it's not putting any more overhead cost on me because I'm not having to pay for the physical copies of something. Basically, make a physical disc, $3 to $8 is like the window to
Oh, yeah.
build a physical like disc. Just disc. That's not anything else. That's just the disc, dude. So
But
as an independent, I feel like that aspect is good for me. But I still like having every once in a while, like this is going to be like my first ship title. So I want a physical copy. Like I want a physical copy to show like I did this and here it is. And it's awesome. Like having that in your hands is such a phenomenal feeling. But
but
as a developer, looking at the overhead costs, like I don't want to pay that extra amount, and I don't want you guys to have to feel like you have to pay that amount either. But
so I
I know
guess
that
the
like
so if the problem and what we're seeing in the market is that physical is dead, I say that you can still be physical just differently, where you offer content that's physical around your game, such as
yeah,
posters or pins or stickers. As much as that seems stupid, in an
it's
indie
not.
in an indie side of things, that's a low bar to put somebody in your world,
Yeah.
where you used to wait in line and show your love and all this for your game. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, we had our midnight releases. Like, dude, I left work when Halo 3 came out. I clocked out of work at 11:30, got in line down the street at GameStop from Walmart, and I didn't get back to work till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wait, I think that hold on, that whole economy of midnight releases has dissipated. I don't,
Yeah, it's
dude, it
gone.
used to happen for books too. I remember waiting in line for getting somebody. I can't say if it's my wife or not because it's so long ago. But waiting in line to get a Harry Potter book.
Yeah. Which, I mean, technically you are doing the midnight release, but it's in a digital format now, but it's not that same. So I would do like 25 PlayStation and 25 Xbox. The first ones that come, you get one copy each. That's
Right.
how I would probably do that, you know. And then not only that, but like, yeah, having physical merch, bringing that back again.
Physical merch
Um,
is a good way, and it's a low bar of entry. It'll cost you a couple dollars to ship it and stuff like that with a POD delivery
right.
service, but it is a better bar, and it allows you as a creator to have more content. If I made a shirt around Enter the Cockpit, or you did, the person that played that game for the first 2 years grows out of that shirt or it rips and tears, and they're like, man, I really love that shirt. That was such a good game. Every time I put that shirt on, I think about
Yeah.
playing it. That's
Yep,
what we
exactly.
have to start molding to as creators. But so to
So
switch from the gaming industry and your deep dive into that with the PlayStation,
over to you.
everybody,
Yep.
yeah. I My information's a little bit wild. I still haven't landed on what I want to talk about yet because there's a lot going on. Number one,
True.
I'm not going to talk about bricks and minifigs. I will say this. If you are a creator out there on any platform seeking the truth, make sure you protect yourself. Make sure you are respectful and you are chasing art and the truth at the same time. And my hat goes off to you. Just stay safe. When it comes to the biggest news I learned for my industry, which is just creative in general, the book world is slightly changing. My wife was talking about some trend that's starting to take off where it's a murder mystery book meets kind of like I find, where you're given 200-page book of just names. There's no story. You kind of pull the story apart through searching. I was like,
Yeah.
yo, that's crazy. So that's a cool thing to be seeing pop off. I want to see where people can take that differently in the future because we have hit an AI slop. If you're pushing the bounds of books like this, please keep doing it. I think that this is how you keep that medium alive. It's also a dying medium to some extent, controlled by the higher popularities, such as your book publishing companies.
Well, not
Dude, it
only
just
that, but you
sucks.
have like these crazy individuals who will copy a book word for word and
Oh,
then just
yeah.
slap an AI cover on it and go like, "Oh, look, I made a book."
No, you didn't. You cheated. But
So,
one other industry news I did want to talk about briefly is Oliver Tree. I think he had a huge chance. He unfortunately passed away on June 16th in
yeah.
Rio de Janeiro helicopter crash. You could do deep
Yeah,
dives on
that's
that.
right.
It
Yeah,
gets
yeah. Okay, I
crazy.
remember that.
The man filmed a documentary that no mainstream would ever cover, and he did it satirically. And how he did it appealed to our generation because he made it look like it was a bootleg copy of his own damn movie. That was an
Yeah.
inception moment for me when I made it through this really bad copy of the documentary. And then you see the cameraman turn to Oliver Tree and he stands up to go down to the bottom and give a speech. And then he goes on to tell you that he's created a fund that took flight when he died. No pun intended, sorry. um, when he died, this went into full motion. As a creator, I have to go look at it, but it is supposedly to give you funds as a small time creator and to give you some kind of help that you don't have. So if you are an Oliver Tree fan, or if this is the first time you're hearing about him, I have not looked into it yet. I will by the next episode. I
Yeah.
encourage you to go look into his funds.
You're gonna be the guinea pig and then you'll let me know how it goes.
Oh,
So, but
so,
um
so butts.
but we go on. The proof is in the pudding, my good sir. Okay, so one thing that I noticed is when I'm playing with mouse and keyboard on my main menu works perfect with mouse and keyboard. Like it moves, all my colors transition, but the moment I hook this up to it, none of my colors work. I don't
Oh.
understand why, and I'll have to get with Alex sometime in the upcoming 2 weeks so we can fix that. So, like I said, I messed with all the buttons. I redid all of our buttons. I did UI work. I did a lot of UI work this week. I did our buttons. I did our framing. I've even plotted out our frame by frame for boss intros. So that includes the boss showing up, the dialogue in between the bosses, and then your radio station gives you a little pop-up of like, hey, you got to go fight this boss. That's the one thing that just won't work. Like, is like trying to figure out why my controller wasn't doing its job that way
Hmm.
wise. The other thing that I noticed in game, it's not a bug, it's just an issue. So like we have our V2 fighter, and it is supposed to ping pong up and down the screen
Mhm.
against our player ship, but it ping pongs way too fast. So I'm gonna get with Alex and like we need to we got to change the behavior because I don't like it. I like the what it's doing. I just don't like how it's set up. So I'm gonna sit down with him sometime in the next 2 weeks, and we're gonna kind of let it ping pong. But when it gets to the bottom or the middle of the screen, stop it, let it shoot, and then move to the next section and kind of keep going back and forth like that. Because right now, all it's doing is just bouncing up and down, shooting, and then moving forward at the same token.
The problem with the controller and the mouse and keyboard is probably just simple, and I hope he'll probably solve it super
Oh
quick.
yeah. So
Um,
like I already dropped the notes to him, I think yesterday or the day before that. So
did
he
you?
has my notes.
Because
No,
that's a
I give
simple
him a
move.
list and I'll say like here's the things that I notice on my
Yeah,
version.
keep it
Like
to
I also changed a lot of the artwork in the game on my side of Unity, and I have not pushed that update on GitHub because I don't want to mess up his side of Unity.
Oh, it
Um,
seems like you guys need a meeting.
we will, we
Okay.
will. Usually we do that on Sundays, but like my situation is a little different for the next week at least.
Oh wow. So
So
wait, your situation got extended another week?
at least until the 6th, because I was
Okay.
supposed to be here until the 4th. I was gonna
Which is
leave on the
tomorrow.
5th. I'm still heading out on the 5th because I'm gonna take my daughter to go spend the weekend at her mom's house.
Okay, so earlier I kind of talked about how the mental gymnastics is around writing the book. It's dino nars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
For my Show Me the Money, I was only able to move the progress needle in story, not in storyboarding. I was able to section off a beginning, middle, and end, really ask myself questions of where I saw these characters going. I got to live in my world a little bit differently. So that has started to spin a little bit of the what I think is the appropriate direction to take this book. Um, when I was on vacation in Canada, we were in Quebec and we stopped over at a stall in the middle of the street where a woman was selling her husband's painting. Gorgeous picture, and it is pointillism. If you're familiar with art, it's where you just take a pen and you dab. The entire freaking picture is just dots, and he did a really good job. Um, so that kind of might be where I take it. Pointillism mixed with a little bit of watercolor. Not sure.
gotcha.
It's. I was struggling with the art a little bit, as you saw in last episode. The art didn't move. So I think
Yeah.
after seeing the pointillism, thinking about watercolor, um, I think I have an idea. So I am very curious as to where I go in the future. But as you're seeing now, it's just all I have is this little cute diagram of squares. So yeah, that's all I have for show and tell. So the next thing is, I
We
guess,
go to adjustments.
and it's time for the adjustments. All right. So what was your adjustment again? You're gonna do what? Without
I'm
reading
just I'll
the
be back
bullets.
home. So that's gonna be my biggest thing is I will be back home. So
Is
I
there
can.
any is there any adjustments to your work output you want to change?
Oh, look at that.
I know that being home will definitely put you back in your, sorry, I was muting, put you back in the
You're good.
environment that makes you creative. But yeah, is there something else to further that creativity other than just location? Because
So location's the biggest one, but me being back home in my controlled environment allows me to, I guess, like I'll have a better opportunity to sit down without distractions because that's the biggest thing that I have right now is a lot of distractions from me doing my normal routine stuff, like Q&A, like actual Q&A. The other thing I need to do is I really need to sit down and like break the game. That's kind of what I want to do when I get home. I want to break it to see what's not fixed. That's
All
it.
right.
Honestly, those are the only things I really need to adjust. Other than that, like I just need to stick to the format that we have because that format has worked. It has got us technically a demo built. Um, we just got to tweak some minor things so we slow the game down because, in my opinion, it's moving too fast. And I mean, the gameplay moves too fast, and I want to slow that down.
I would like to. I've been saying it for weeks. Focus, man. Like I want to think, how can I focus better than I have been? I think that going forward, starting today, the adjustment is that I need dedicated time each day. I need to carve that out. That's the
Yeah,
adjustment I need to make. Carve out time. And I think I'm going to start with 30 minutes for this project because as we've talked, as we've done all this, nothing has its own lane clearly yet. So it's still like putting the pieces together when you don't understand what's on the puzzle box. So yeah, that's my only adjustment is to carve out 30 minutes a day specifically for this book and
for
pushing that
working.
needle forward. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
because we're creatives with multiple hats, and this book has got to be the next push for me. So it's not a hard book. It's just commitment or time behind the scenes is hard with everything going on, being a father, being a business owner, being a member of the community.
summertime. Yeah,
Yeah, summertime, like it's not, it just feels like when school's out, all of a sudden you're hit with, well, I got to go do XYZ now. Because you don't want your kid in home when you're up in your office all day. Like, that's
you
not fair. What kind of life is that for your child? So that's what
like
it just,
like
so
that's the
when,
only cool thing about being at my mom's house. Just as an example, we have a
yeah.
pool in the backyard,
Oh,
so like my kid can go hang out in the pool,
you son of
and
a
the
bitch.
yard's huge, so like she can
Yeah.
go run around and just enjoy herself without having to worry about like, oh, this is in the way or that's in the way. I don't have to worry about that.
I-
So,
Well,
but yeah, I hear you.
so yeah, and it's teaching me, well, to be honest, this is only the first year since I've owned a company, 6 months, and I'm learning on the fly, like how to balance this stuff. It doesn't matter what you read, what you listen to, what guru you follow. You got to figure
Yeah,
this stuff out for yourself, and it
pretty
always is
much.
different. So,
For me, it's getting with Alex to make sure we get the proper boss in because I already have the artwork for the boss done, technically, at least one for us to test with. We have a proper one. So I want to get with him in the next 2 weeks before we record again so we can actually show the boss. Because right now it's a sprite square and that mother is broken. Like it shoots at us and it does damage to us, but it is hard for us to do damage to it. And that's because I made a boo-boo when I wrote out like the design intent and he thought that the window for damage was only just a specific window. I'm like, that's my fault because that specific window should be for the player to do double the damage. You can still damage the ship, but when that window pops up, you double the amount.
hmm,
So that's the big commitment is I want to implement the boss better, and I hope to get with him within those next 2 weeks so we can do that. And we need to slow the game down. So those are the two things we have to do.
I don't recall what my last commitment was. It was probably something of just like it has been for like the last 2 months. Show up, keep making progress.
Yes.
Um, I think the commitment now is it's more than that. If my adjustment is to carve out 30 minutes a day, then my new commitment should be to make sure I use that time appropriately. So, uh, my new commitment is to make sure that the rough draft is done in 2 weeks. I don't, it needs to be rough and it needs to be, I need to, it, rough draft is done by episode 16. That's my commitment.
So here's a little tangent on my end that I let
Uh-oh.
me let me let me do something real quick because he said it and in one of his TikTok videos, and I want to give him a shout out real quick.
Oh, right at the end of
Uh,
my commitment, you son of a.
yes, only because it ties to your commitment.
Oh, go for it.
Uh, what was his name? Been there, done that.
That's
Is it
a,
in this one here?
I like that name, by the way. That's a smart name.
So, or been there, cut that. I apologize. Been there, cut that on TikTok. he said something that ties into what you were just talking about. Your rough draft should be strictly for you. So you're writing it
Yes.
for yourself. Yeah. So
Well,
that'll help you get it out of the way.
so I see what you're saying, and I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever been clear. It has gone through, let's see, it went through one or two rough draft phases already, but I don't think they went through the proper rough draft phases. Does that make sense? So it went through the idea factory. It came out as a comic, and then when I looked at it, I said, that's not a comic anymore. It can't be.
Yeah.
It's got to be a storybook for children. So then switching that has been the biggest issue I've had because there's
Gotcha.
certain elements that you helped me dial in on the comic that I want to transition to the story, but you necessarily can't do that too. You have to mold differently. And what I mean
Yeah.
by that is there's certain word economy within children's books, and there's a structure that a lot of people have identified that I wasn't doing. So that's what I'm talking about. I want to make sure that the rough draft is for a children's book because that's essentially what I have not been able to complete yet. So also, been there, cut that. From what I hear, I do have to look you up, kind person. I would be curious as to what your content is, and I would love to consume it to some degree. So if you're listening to this or somebody knows you, tag them in this and have them share
That's
it.
me. I know him.
Well,
I
there
just
you
got to
go.
figure out how to tag. I don't know how to do that yet.
Thank you for making it to the end of Cap Squared episode 15, entitled Relocation Vacation, where we both had to remove ourselves from our homes and our projects in order to recenter ourselves and ask the tough questions of our projects and what they really need from us to commit to going forward. For Armando's situation, he discovered that he would like to break the game in order to slow it down. That's very important as a game designer. And for myself, I decided that we're done kicking the can down the road. Let's push the needle on this little gas mobile. So I am going to commit to bringing to life the first ever rough draft that I hope will be the final draft because I have been writing it for a very long time. Make sure you follow, subscribe on wherever you're hearing us. And if you like a more in-depth conversation about the game design field and a little bit deeper on Oliver Tree, we did do those in the Twitch live stream. That was accidental, but the link is down below if you like that kind of stuff. As always, stay creative, and we look forward to building alongside you.